Diana Rossini of The Athletic, formerly of Comcast Sportsnet
Indeed.
Northwest. I always like to throw that in there. Diana
It's a
is
distinguished list.
a hell of a good time. Diana's an animal.
Yeah.
And she's now with The Athletic after a good run at ESPN.
Kicking butt and taking names.
This was Diana Rossini yesterday on their NFL podcast for The Athletic, talking about Mike Vrabel and why he didn't get a job this hiring cycle.
I don't think that there was a fit for him. I don't think he sat in front of any owner who thought that his style was going to work for what they were looking for. Do you know I had a GM at the Senior Bowl who mentioned to me Vrabel's physical build, that he's a very large human being and can be very intimidating to people in an organization that are going to be part of these decisions. And that is a factor, which I laughed. I said, stop, that's not something that's real. Who cares what someone physically looks like? And he said, I'm just telling you, I've been in rooms and somebody's physical presence can make a difference.
That is so bizarre.
Okay, so I know how insane this probably sounds to a lot of people. I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there. There are certain things, again, quick background. I worked in military intelligence, worked as an interrogator. There is truth to this. Nerd! Yes, there is literal truth to this. Now, it depends on who you go into and who you're talking to. But do you think about this real quick. Jeff Bezos was this scrawny little dude in a garage, again, was given $300,000 by his parents to start Amazon. How does he look now?
Jacked.
Okay.
Like a supervillain.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Pasty white.
But
jacked.
Yes.
Judo champion.
There's a connotation between power and physicality and size. And so depending on outcomes you may want to push, you might send somebody bigger into a room or smaller into a room, depending on what you're trying to accomplish.
And that makes sense if you're interrogating somebody.
But also, when you look at the way I would imagine that these hirings go and these interviews go, there's probably some very, very, very strong similarities in how those meetings are conducted.
I can tell you that whatever business you are running, if that is your worry, you don't have strong leadership at the top and you are not strong enough at the top to have a coach that is physically imposing because he played in the NFL and now coaches in the National Football League.
Look, D'Amico Ryans out there still looking super jacked for the Texans.
If you can't handle that, that says more about you than anything else. Because one thing that you hear time and time again about Mike Vrabel is his relationship that he has with his staff and his players.
Dude's dude.
He relates to them. He connects with them. That's the most important part about coaching, to get people to buy in and pull in the same direction. Now, where did Mike Vrabel have his hiccups as a head coach? And this probably is where the intimidation is that he can't stand ineptitude
at the top.
And that's what he had in Tennessee. He does not like it when you do not have a strong direction at the top. And if that's what's stopping you from hiring Mike Vrabel, you're going to continue to not win football games. I can tell you that.
That's why I still wonder why the Commanders didn't go down that path. That's the hire that I would have made. I don't care what you were looking for, strength and stability. Like his physicality is kind of what you're after.
Crazy
in the sense of you want that physicality, you want that strength, you want to be seen when you're talking about the subversive stuff. You want to be seen as that. Like if the first thing you think of when the Washington Commanders is this big iron-jawed coach, much like Bill Cowher with the Steelers, when you thought about the Steelers in that time period, that's what you thought of. Yeah, they had great players and the defense and everything, but the beacon on the hill was the jaw. And that came from that toughness of Bill Cowher. Like, how you wouldn't go down that path, I don't understand it.
Whoever that was definitely wasn't going to hire Dan Campbell.
No. God, no. But in all seriousness, too, it's not just a sign of a weakness in the sense of the top of the organization. Those subconscious biases exist in people that you 100%. You would not believe at the highest levels of power.
And that is a wild thing to think about with successful companies operating in that manner. But here we are.
You see and it works in the other way, that, you know, somebody wouldn't want to hire somebody who's small because they don't feel like they could command a room or take control.
Who was the smallest coach hired this cycle? I think we can deduce which team it was.
I was going to say Chip, but he's not a head coach and he didn't pick up a coordinator gig, but
well, he's still the head coach at UCLA.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If it would have been him.
Maybe Brian Callahan. I don't know how big he is, but he went to Tennessee, then replaced Mike Vrabel. I don't know.
Crack research team.
We'll get on it. Dan Quinn's jacked.
He is.
So maybe it wasn't Washington.
Super great, perfectly round bald head too.
He's got a good bald head.
Right?
He's got a really good bald head.